Hi, and welcome to 5 Minutes with Phil. Timothy, my son, chapter 5, verses 7 and 8. I'm Phil Routley, and I founded Soul Impact, and I am the head coach. Verse 7 and 8. Give the people these instructions so that no one may be open to blame. Anyone who does not provide for their relatives, and especially for their own household, has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. Timothy, I know there's an endless list of things you need to be teaching to your flock. Some of them are very theological. Some are very high-minded and even feel sometimes like they're beyond the grasp of many. You need to provide spiritual milk, but you need to move the people onto solid food at times while you also nourish them in Christian faith and practice on the street, in the classroom, on the factory floor, in the home, or in the boardroom. Teach the application of these truths. You don't want to have your people saying, I didn't know. Why didn't you tell me? You don't want your people to lose out on the blessing of helping one another, and you don't want people who need help to miss out because there was no one there to help. When Paul was saying goodbye to the elders of the church in Ephesus in Acts chapter 20, he gives a powerful indictment. You know that I have not hesitated to preach anything that would have been helpful to you, but have taught you publicly and from house to house. For I have not hesitated to proclaim to you the whole will of God. Therefore, people, you are without excuse. For many years, as we have begun pastoral leadership in churches, my first message was based on this passage as my intent sermon. Here is what I want to do, plan to do, and hope to do during my tenure here. Here's how I will love. Here is what I will teach. I will not hold back teaching anything that would be helpful to you, and I won't hesitate to proclaim to you the whole will of God, or as the King James puts it, the whole counsel of God. After serving for a number of years, on our farewell Sunday, as that chapter of ministry would be concluded, I would preach on that same passage. These were my intentions, and I hope I kept them. The whole counsel of God means that you don't leave something out just because it's challenging, difficult to understand, contentious, or unpopular. Just as I'm trying to do here, I believe the best way to preach and teach the Bible is expositional. I'll never forget first hearing and meeting John MacArthur as he focused on Isaiah 28:10 from the King James, which says, "For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line. Here a little, there a little. Read the text, explain the text, apply the text." When Paul writes his next letter to Timothy, he says, all scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be perfectly, thoroughly furnished unto all good works. There are practical implications to what you do, Timothy. Be diligent in the practical teaching of God's ways and means. Everyone will benefit, including you. Paul then summarizes this section of his teaching. Anyone who does not provide for their relatives, and especially for their own household, has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. Do you want to fulfill the desires of God? Look after one another. See you next time on Timothy, my son.